Thumb through any album of Barry Bonds baseball cards, and it's easy to see that the all-time home run king really did change quite a bit from his rookie season in 1986 until he hung up his spikes in 2007. But collectors who were paying attention knew that even early in Bonds' career, that he wasn't always himself in the public eye. Or rather, he wasn't always himself when presented to the public on little rectangles of cardboard each spring and summer. And we didn't have to wait long for proof of his chameleon nature either, thanks to a gaffe in the 1987 Donruss Opening Day set. Make the team, make the set. Major League hopefuls may not have realized it at the time, but spring training was doubly important in 1987, and Donruss was watching all of the action more closely than ever. In those pre-internet days, the third company, after Topps and Fleer chronologically, was planning something special for collectors and had little trouble keeping their operation under wraps. But once each team had their first game in the books, Donruss fired up their printing presses and cranked out an innovative set. The 1987 opening day issue showcased the starting lineup for each of the 26 major league teams on surprise opening day, plus a series of teams' checklists. And given that 1987 was the heyday of the rookie card craze, collectors were eager to get their hands on as many pasteboards of the youngsters as we could. Lucky for us, there was plenty of promise in those maroon bordered beauties, including Wally Joyner, Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, Bo Jackson, and Barry Bonds. These weren't true rookie cards since they weren't available in packs. Opening day could only be purchased as a complete set, but that helped slake our hunger. Of course, with such a quick turnaround between opening day and the cards issued during the season, it wouldn't have been surprising if something went awry. So Barry Nice, they included him twice. As it turned out, the quality of Donruss's new concept set was tight, and the cards were well received. The maroon borders proved a nice complement and welcome respite from the chip craze black of the base set. There was some disagreement about whether the sets should be opened and broken into singles or kept intact in the original cellophane bricks. But all in all, collectors' reaction was positive. Enough of us busted a few sets early on for a secondary singles market to develop, though, and one of the most talked about of those was Barry Bonds' number 163. Even at the early stage of his career, Bonds was viewed as one of the most talented players in the game. He was the son of Bobby Bonds, an electric performer during his own turbulent big league run, and he had finished sixth in the National League Rookie of the Year balloting on the strength of 16 home runs and 36 stolen bases in just 113 games. At 22, he had the whole baseball world in front of him. Curious, then, that Donruss had gone to the trouble of including Bonds in their opening day set, but picturing teammate Johnny Ray on Bonds' card. Ray was a fine player who had arguably played better than Bonds in '86, but he was part of the old guard in Pittsburgh and would be gone by season's end. He also had his own card in the opening day set, card number 162. To their credit, Donruss acted quickly to correct their gaffe, replacing Ray's image on card number 163 with a beaming Barry. "Hey, he looks different. How much do you want?" It didn't take collectors long to notice the change in Bonds' appearance, and the market for both the error and the corrected cards began to heat up. By the time summer was over, it was clear that the Johnny Ray version was much more scarce than the white jersey version showing Bonds, and everyone started ripping open their factory sets to see if they had the prize error card. Most of us found the corrected Bonds card, though, and demand for the error card continued to climb. Over the next several years, it took on the same mythical status as hobby classics like C. Nettles, All, Robrowski, and White Letters Mantle. It was estimated at the time that only about 2% of Bonds cards actually showed Ray, and that number is nearly borne out of the PSA population report, which pegs Ray between 3 and 4%. Today, the corrected version sells for less than $10 in graded mint condition, while the Ray error version brings in several $100s, even raw. Big head? Heck, he's not even the same person. Barry Bonds has taken a long, alternately glorious and bumpy road since that opening day nearly 30 years ago. He transformed himself from a slender speedster with surprising power into a bulging mass of a home run hitting muscle that set all sorts of records along the way. Thanks to an abiding ego that swelled his head, and an alleged diligence with PEDs that purportedly have done the same, Bonds missed out on much of the adoration that might have been showed upon him had he taken a more humble approach to the game. But the truth is that none of us should have been surprised by any of his machinations, because as the two 1987 Donruss Opening Day Bonds baseball cards prove, he sometimes was just not himself. Like our video? Then like our videos and subscribe to our channel. waxpackgods.com